Hi, I'm Marlon Espino, and part of Team Mancina here at Red Horse Studios.
Yeah, and I'm Mark Mancina, and on this project, Marlon and I worked together, which was really fun.
Mark, you and I go back 20 some odd years, back to Brother Bear, and I know you've got Disney history long before that with Tarzan and
trauma, Disney trauma.
Yeah, exactly.
So my job on Lion King was to do the songs, so I actually did all the songs. That was my job back then. Hans kind of knew me as a songwriter demo guy. He asked me if I could make the songs fit because they weren't working. They were kind of country and western songs. Can't Wait to Be King, and they had a real country and western flair from Elton, and they were trying to figure out, well, how do we make these African? Because after that, we did, I think, Tarzan, and then I think Brother Bear was pretty shortly after that.
I had a great time working with you and Phil on that film. And so, so the 20 some odd years goes by, and then I started making Snow Bear, and we got to the point where we realized that we were going to need a composer, and the best composer I knew was you.
You have Marlon to thank, because I was the one saying, I don't think we can do this, because were we in Moana 2? No, we did 3 movies.
Yeah.
And I remember telling Marlon, I don't think so, man. I don't want to disappoint Aaron. And, Aaron's thing is all music. And It has to tell a story. So it's going to need a lot of attention to detail. I've done this before. It's going to take some man hours. And I don't know how much time I'm going to have, because I'm trying to get this all done. And Marlon the whole time was like, no problem. We'll do it. No problem.
Thank you, Marlon.
Let's just take it. It's really good. Let's do it. And I'd come into his studio and he'd have it up in his room, and I'd go, "What are you doing with that?" And he'd go, "I'm just looking at it, checking it out, seeing what he's got." And
it was really the artwork. It was the 2D hand drawn. It just did something really special for me personally, and I just really wanted to be involved. And my daughter, every time she saw it, that's all she would ask to see. So I don't know. There's just something about it that felt really special, and I just, really wanted to make it happen here.
Well, speaking of that, so right from the beginning, I knew I didn't want to have dialogue in it. I wanted to tell the whole story visually. Wanted to do it myself. Didn't want to have to deal with actors, and I wanted music to carry it. And so, giving that to you guys, how do you approach a film that's got no dialogue as opposed to a film that does have dialogue? Or do you kind of just approach it the same way? You just fill the gaps, or how do you do that?
I think it's harder in most respects, I think, because it's kind of in the forefront, and a lot of times, we're just trying to help enhance what's, on screen, and I think it was a great opportunity. The art was gorgeous, and it was just really fun to kind of try to help tell that story and not have to worry about getting out of the way of dialogue, and so it was really rewarding.
And that is the challenge, because on one hand it's harder because, as Marlon said, there's no dialogue, so the music is really exposed. On the other hand, it's better because the music is telling the story, and that's what we do. So it's kind of fun, really. I mean, I really wanted to do it because it was like we said, it was music driven, visual and music driven, and that's a really cool thing,
And Snow Bear has this really simple, beautiful little theme that you guys use throughout the film. And one of the things that I find really fascinating by that is that it works in the sad parts, it works in the lonely parts. Depending on how you orchestrate it, it works in the happy parts. It's really cool. So I was just wondering, how do you go about coming up with that type of thing?
For me anyway, the rewarding thing in a movie score is to come away from the movie and have the theme in your head.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's a double whammy. And it's a little bit of an lost art. I don't hear it nearly as much. As an example, if you look at all the Marvel superheroes, you really can't associate a theme with any of them that I can think of.
Right.
Whereas if you go back, Raiders of the Lost Ark, you go back into those days, yes. So for me, if you can come up with a little tune, it gives you mileage. And I think that first tune was something Marlon kind of came up with, and I kind of helped shape it because I heard it and I went, oh, you're onto something there, Because really, we do throw paint against the wall. I mean, we don't sit down with it and go, oh, this is Formula A, we will now put section B. We don't do that. We sit there and go, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
I thought oboe would be perfect, but oboe sounds like crap. It's like you don't know, because the visual and the story really shape the way the music should feel.
The scoring itself, when you guys brought the musicians in, you guys did it in a pretty unique way.
Yeah. This is another Marlon thing, man. He's telling me, I keep saying to him, look, let's go book the theater down the road, because for me, there's a theater. And I said, let's go book the theater. Let's just move everything in there. And Marlon's going, I think we can do it here. We have all the great microphones. We have all the great rooms. We have all the great equipment. I'm going, yeah, but you're talking about, what, 24 people or whatever we had.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a big studio. So the whole thing was like a string and a cup. Is it going to work? And the musicians were unbelievably great. We seriously had the woodwinds in the kitchen connected with cables. And everybody playing together, and it was pretty remarkable. They were extremely in tune, which is really difficult. They got the music, they got the Snow Bear, they came in and watched it, in the control room, and it was great because we got that reaction from them too, the cheers and stuff. So
it was different. The LA guys do sessions quite a bit, and it was nice. Everyone seemed pretty invested.
Yeah.
I think more so than some of the regular session guys.
I remember crying when I got the music the first time, and just because it really it had the emotion that I was feeling making it. Because I remember animating some of the shots that were directly representative of some of the things that I'd emotionally gone through, and actually crying while I was drawing. And then when I got the music for those shots, I felt that emotion again. So it was just, I can't thank you enough for you and Marlon.
That's what we do, and when somebody reacts that way, that's worth all of it. You know what I mean? Because that's our goal.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you guys again. It's been, like I said, it's been almost a year, but we're still riding the wave, and I still watch it. I still watch it with my family. My daughter still tears up. My grandkids tear up. I just absolutely love it.
When they played that music, it just was like, this is as good as it gets. I mean, it doesn't matter where you are. It's the music sounds, if it's played well and it's written well, and you have a subject like we had with Snow Bear, it's gonna have some magic, and that's why we do it. Really.